What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another FPL video on the channel. And in today's one, we are going to be looking at my very first FPL draft for the new upcoming 25-26 season. Make sure you guys do smash a like on the video, and also a lot of you guys last season were asking if I could make a Discord, right? And I can confirm that has now been done. So if you do want to join the Discord, guys, make sure you guys do check the link down below in the description, and yeah, join up the Discord. Also, if you want to join my FPL mini league, click the link down below in the description. But anyway, guys, enough with that waffle. Let's waste no more time and let's have a look at my very first FPL draft for the new season. Alright, guys, so I want to start off by saying the team that you're about to see, of course, probably will change. And when I say that this is my very first FPL draft, I literally mean it. I've not really thought about my chip strategy and other important things like that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if my team does change later down the line. But with that being said, guys, let's get straight into it. And I want to start off with my front three that I've gone for. And for the front three, I've gone for the man himself, the big man himself, Erling Haaland, and I've also gone for Dominic Solanke and Ollie Watkins. That is going to be my front three as it stands, and as I said, it probably will change, but at the moment, this is the front three that I want to go for. And to be honest with you guys, there's two players from this front three that most definitely won't change, right? And that's Dominic Solanke and Ollie Watkins. I love those two players as picks a lot more than Erling Haaland, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. And I really do want to start off by talking about Dominic Solanke, because for me, in my humble opinion, he is an absolute must-have player to start the season. I'm telling you guys, we will be there. Dominic Solanke from Gameweek 1, we will be there no matter what. He will be in my FPL squad no matter what, as long as he can stay fit, guys. I promise you that from now, because for me, this is an absolute gem of a player coming in at a price of 7.5 million, guys. And when you look at the fixtures that Tottenham do have to start the season, oh my word, how greedy, right? The fixtures that Tottenham have to start the season are absolutely sensational, bruv. Simple as that. You look at Gameweek 1, it's a brilliant fixture at home against Burnley at home. And then in Game Week 2, yes, it's a difficult fixture against City away, but after that, it's Bournemouth at home. Then we're looking at West Ham away, then Brighton away, then Wolves at home, then Leeds away, then Villa at home. I could go on and on and on, but you guys can see the long-term fixtures are certainly there for Dominic Solanke. So that's one of the big factors as to why I do want to start the season off with Dominic Solanke. But not only that, guys, right? Not only that, as we know, Tottenham Hotspur have had a manager change. They've sacked Ange Postecoglou and they've now got in Thomas Frank. And under Thomas Frank, right, in the Premier League, the number 9s that have played under this manager have really performed well. When you look at the likes of Yohan Wissa, what he was able to do last season. When you look at the likes of Brian Mbeumo, what he was able to do in the last couple of seasons. When you even look at the likes of Ivan Toney, right before he got suspended, he was banging in goals for fun. So what I've seen from number 9s under Thomas Frank in the Premier League has been very good, and that fills me with even more confidence in Dominic Solanke, right? I do think he will be just such a good FPL asset to start the season, and that's why I do want to go for him. Of course, you know, we've not really seen much of Spurs in preseason yet. They've only played like one preseason game. So yeah, but for me, regardless of what happens in preseason, I think I'll be starting with Solanke. And yeah, that's all I really have to say on him. And look, in terms of Ollie Watkins, once again, Aston Villa, man, the fixtures absolutely ridiculous. So good for Aston Villa. The long-term fixtures I absolutely love. The first game against Newcastle at home is not the easiest, but after that, it's Brentford away. I like it. Crystal Palace at home, Everton away, then Sunderland away, then Fulham at home, then Burnley at home. So for me, the first 7 to 8 to 9 games for Aston Villa, really good. And that's why I do want to start with Ollie Watkins. Of course, Ollie Watkins, Premier League proven. We know that he can score goals in this Aston Villa team. So yeah, I don't expect Ollie Watkins to leave Aston Villa this summer. I expect him to still be the starting and main number 9 in the Aston Villa team. And for that reason, Ollie Watkins for me. When you talk about non-negotiables, when you talk about must-have players, for me, I'm going to put my neck on the line and I'm going to say Dominic Solanke, Ollie Watkins are two must-have players. So as I said, bro, if there's two players in this front three that aren't going anywhere, it's those two players there, Watkins and Solanke for me. So yeah, and of course, to finish off the attack, we do have Erling Haaland. Now, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Me having Erling Haaland in this team does mean that Mohamed Salah does not make the squad. And we'll talk about that in a second when we do get into the midfield. But as it stands, Mohamed Salah is not in the squad. I've opted for Erling Haaland instead. Of course, things could change. If I do go for Salah, then it means I will obviously remove Erling Haaland. I don't think I want to start the season off with both Salah and Haaland. So, yeah, but look, as it stands, I've gone for Erling Haaland. I think the fixtures for City, right, are okay. That it's a bit of it's meh. It's like in the middle. It's not bad, but it's not great, right? The fixtures for City. So in game week 1, it's Wolves away, not bad. In game week 2, it's Spurs at home, it's okay. Game week 3, Brighton away, it's not bad. And then United at home, Arsenal away. So the first 5 games, it's like okay. It's not great, but it's not terrible, right? And then after that, the fixtures get a lot better. From game week 6 onwards, that's really where you do want to own Erling Haaland, because then it's Burnley at home, Brentford away, Everton at home, Villa away, Bournemouth at home. So the long-term fixtures from game week 6 onwards are really, really good for Manchester City and Erling Haaland, which is why I do like Erling Haaland. I mean, if I was to start with Erling Haaland, then I'd probably see it through all the way till, I mean, God knows when I would take him out. I mean, if I start with him, I'd probably keep him for a very, very long time until he realistically gets injured, because later on in the season, the fixtures do get better. But yeah, it's pretty tough in terms of, you know, who do you start with, Erling Haaland or Mohamed Salah? Look, we know Erling Haaland can bag goals for fun. I don't really need to talk about the ability of Erling Haaland. Of course, last season he underperformed massively, which probably will put some people off picking Erling Haaland. But for me, I think, look, regardless of how, you know, I guess poor Erling Haaland was last season, he is a Premier League proven, just in general, a proven number 9 in world football who bags goals for fun. And in an off season last season, he still managed to get, I think it was 22 goals. So if he even plays at like 10% or 30% better than he did last season, we're looking at 27, 28, 29 Premier League goals. So for me, Erling Haaland, man, regardless of how bad he performed, I still do think he is a good pick. The question is he a better pick than Mohamed Salah, right? And I think, look, when you talk about chip strategy, that could massively influence whether you pick Mohamed Salah or not. Because one thing I did think about, right, guys, is let's look at game week 3, for example. If you decide to free hit in game week 3, right, there is an argument to be made that starting with Mohamed Salah over Haaland is the better idea, because from game week 4 onwards, right, game week 4 onwards, Mohamed Salah has some very, very good fixtures. Let me get up the fixtures here quickly for Mohamed Salah, and then we'll move on into the midfield. But quickly, let's have a look at the fixtures here for Mohamed Salah, right? So it's a pretty tricky start to start the season for Mohamed Salah. You know, Bournemouth at home, I like it, but then after that, Newcastle away, Arsenal at home. That's very, very tough. And when you look at captaincy, probably not going to captain Mohamed Salah against Newcastle or Arsenal. Now, from game week 4 onwards, the fixtures for Liverpool, absolutely ridiculous. Very, very good. Burnley away in game week 4. Everton at home in game week 5. Palace away in game week 6. Then Chelsea United, slightly tougher, but we've seen Salah absolutely just destroy Manchester United season in, season out. And then after that is Brentford, Villa, City, Forest, West Ham, and so on. So I think, look, the fixtures for Liverpool from game week 4 onwards are pretty good, and I think that's when you would want to have Mohamed Salah. So back to what I was saying about potentially free hitting in game week 3. And again, it's early days, right? So this isn't, you know, something I am going to do. It's just something that's been on my mind. If you free hit in game week 3, it does make starting off with Salah a lot better. Because then what happens, you start with Salah, you play him against Bournemouth, you play him against Newcastle, you free hit in game week 3, take him out and don't put him in your free hit team. And then when you return back to your normal team, you've got Salah in from game week 4 onwards, ready to go. So I don't mind it. I really, really don't mind doing that. And I think if I was to start the season with Mohamed Salah, I think that is the strategy that I would go for, a game week 3 free hit. And when you look at the fixtures, right, for game week 3, they are like, there is a lot of good fixtures, and I feel like you could build a pretty good free hit team in game week 3. So yeah, it is definitely something to think about, but I'm not going to ramble on for too long now, guys. I'm not going to ramble on for too long. Let's go ahead and move on to the midfield, right? So in the midfield, guys, we do have Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers and Dwight McNeil. So that's the midfield I'm going for, guys. And of course, on the bench, we do have Gelhardt of Leeds. I've not really thought about, you know, who the best 4.5 midfielder is yet. I'm going to wait to decide on who that is. You know, I want to see what teams do in pre-season, and then I can get a better idea of who the best 4.5 midfielder is. But yeah, that is going to be my starter midfield for at the moment. So Saka, Palmer, McNeil, Morgan, Rogers. Bruv, I like it a lot, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. I want to start off talking about Cole Palmer for me. I mean, guys, if you were here last season, if you were following my journey last season, you know how much pain and suffering Cole Palmer caused me. Right, he was an absolute scrub. He was a fraud. He was a bum of an FPL asset last season. However, I do believe in second chances. I do believe that every season is different. and I'm willing to give Palmer a second chance to prove himself to me, because the fixtures that Chelsea do have are absolutely amazing. I love the fixtures that Chelsea do have, and I think he would be a long-term set and forget pick, right? So for me, Cole Palmer, as I said, bro, I'm willing to give him that second chance. I think the fixtures are great. Game week 1, Palace at home. Game week 2, West Ham away. Game week 3, Fulham at home. Brentford away. United away. Then Brighton at home. I just think the long-term fixtures, they genuinely are just absolutely ridiculous. And that's why, for me, when I just look at these fixtures, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Please give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. I want you. Simple as that. Cole Palmer, I want you. The fixtures are just, they're so good. They're so good. And as I said, bro, I'm willing to give Cole Palmer a second chance. I saw what he did in the Club World Cup, banging in 2 brilliant goals against the best team in the world, PSG, in a final, stepping up for his team. Look, as I said, bro, I think, look, Cole Palmer, right, last season, he kind of did stink up the place. I'm not going to lie. But he is a quality player. He is maturing even more. We know what he can do. He's the 90-minute man. He's on penalties. And as I said, the fixture is just brilliant. So I want Cole Palmer in my team, and that's why I'm going for him. Then we've got Bukayo Saka. This is a pick that I was a bit skeptical of. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't too confident about picking Bukayo Saka, if I'm being totally honest with you guys, because I think the fixtures that Arsenal have are probably some of the worst fixtures to start the Premier League season. But at this, although I am saying that, I look at the other options, and there's just not many other options that fill me with confidence. I was thinking about someone like Florian Wirtz, but I just thought, you know what? One of the key factors for me that was in terms of why I picked Saka ahead of someone like maybe Florian Wirtz is, number one, Saka's Premier League proven. Number two, he's a 90-minute man. We know he's going to play every single game regardless. And also, it's the fact that in Game Week 2, he is by far the best captain option. In Game Week 2, he plays against Leeds at home, guys. And look, let me show you guys the fixtures in Game Week 2, right? Because it's something I've been... As soon as the fixtures came out, it was something I thought about. Captaincy, right? And when you look at the fixtures, ideally, when you talk about realistic captain options, we're probably looking at, you know, Cole Palmer against West Ham. Erling Haaland against Spurs, I probably wouldn't say so, but let's just say Erling Haaland because it is Erling Haaland. And then we're looking at Mohamed Salah. So they're like probably the best 3 players you ideally want to target for captaincy, right, on any given game week. And you look at Salah, he's playing against Newcastle away at St James's Park. Definitely don't want to go there. You look at Erling Haaland, he's playing against the Spurs team at home. Then you look at Cole Palmer, yes, he's playing against a poor West Ham team, but it is the very first game of the game week. Never back the early kickoff. You guys know that simple rule. So for me, I look at captaincy and I think, okay, I don't want to go Palmer. I don't want to go Haaland. I wouldn't want to go Salah if I had him. But Bukayo Saka playing at home to Leeds, he is by far the standout captain option, and that's what does entice me even more. And that's why a part of me does like I'm quite 50-50 on Saka, but actually, no, I'd say I'm 60-40. And I'm 60-40 in favour of Saka because of this captaincy pick in Game Week 2. He would definitely be my captain if I did have him in my team. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. In terms of, you know, the overall fixtures that Arsenal do have, it's very tough. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's very tough. United away. Look, I know how poor United were last season. Very, very poor. Shocking. And I watched the extended highlights that in the preseason game that we played against Leeds. It didn't look too promising, to be honest with you guys. But we do have this sort of, like, sometimes we do perform, we turn up for the big occasions. And it is the very, very first Premier League game at Old Trafford against our rivals Arsenal. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did put in quite a good performance against Arsenal. But yeah, look, I'd say it's that game against United is 50-50. It can go both ways. I can see us getting a draw. I can see us winning. But I could also see us getting slapped up silly and losing the game like 3-0. But because it is the very, very first game, I think it does favour Manchester United a little bit more than usual. Like, I think it increases our chances of getting a result out of the game more than it would if we played Arsenal in like Game Week 6, for example. That's just my personal opinion. Because I think, look, as the season goes on, teams are able to build rhythm. But, you know, because it's the very, 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 very first game, Arsenal, you know, new signings that they've signed will be adjusting and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's just my opinion on that game individually. But, yeah, as I said, as a whole, the fixtures are pretty tough. United away, Game Week 1. Leeds at home in Game Week 2. Liverpool away in game week 3, Forest at home in game week 4, and then City at home in game week 5, and then Newcastle away in game week 6. Guys, those fixtures are really, really tough. I do think Saka can do well against Leeds, Forest, and City at home, if I'm being totally honest with you guys. But Liverpool away, Newcastle away, I don't really see Saka doing anything. But yeah, that's just my opinion on Saka. As I said, I don't want to, I feel like this video could end up being so long. I don't want to waffle too much. But I've also gone for Morgan Rogers as well. For the same reason as I've gone for Ollie Watkins, I really just do like the fixtures, the long-term fixtures that Aston Villa do have. And also with Morgan Rogers, guaranteed to start, guaranteed 90 minutes, plays week in, week out, no matter what. Last season, I'm not going to lie, he's coming in at a price of 7 million. I do think that's a bit too expensive for Morgan Rogers, in my opinion. I think last season, he was an average FPL asset. I personally would have priced him at 6.5 million. 7 million is a bit too expensive, in my opinion, but nonetheless, I think I'm still going to pick him purely because I just love the fixtures that Aston Villa do have for the long term. They've got some of the best fixtures to start the season, along with Chelsea and Tottenham, in my opinion. So that's why I'm going to go for Morgan Rogers. And then we've also got Dwight McNeil. Now, I do want to point out, I've got zero money left in the bank, right? So I've spent my total of 100 million on this team. Now, I've gone for Dwight McNeil. It was a toss-up between Dwight McNeil and Iliman Ndiaye. And at first, I was favouring Iliman Ndiaye, but he is more expensive, 0.5 more expensive. He's 6.5 compared to Dwight McNeil being 6 million. And look, Dwight McNeil, I like him because he's on penalties. But overall, right, I was looking at the stats just to refresh my memory. And Dwight McNeil, Iliman Ndiaye got 9 goals last season, and that was including some penalties as well. And Dwight McNeil got 4 goals and 8 assists in 15 starts. So Dwight McNeil got 12 goal contributions in 15 starts, whereas Iliman Ndiaye only got 9 goals in 29 starts. And I think 2 of those 9 goals were actually penalties as well. So that's why for me, I do think I'd rather start the season off with Dwight McNeil. Also, Dwight McNeil is on corners, and we know how strong Everton are from set pieces like corners and long free kicks as well. So yeah, for me, I think price factored in as well. And yeah, for me, I just think McNeil slightly edges it for me over Ndiaye. But I do really want to go for an Everton player regardless, though, because, again, the long-term fixtures for Everton are really, really good in my personal opinion. You look at Dwight McNeil in game week 1, Leeds away, absolutely love that. Then Brighton at home, then Wolves away, then Villa at home. Liverpool is tough, but then after that, it's West Ham, then Palace. So, yeah, for me, like the first 10 game weeks or so, Everton have really, really good fixtures. So I'm more than happy to go with an Everton midfielder. But as it stands, I would say I'm favouring Dwight McNeil slightly. But of course, things could change. You never know. Anyway, that is how the team is looking. Well, so far, that's how the team is looking. Now we move on into the back line, right? And in the back line, we do have Ole Einar, who's on the bench. Well, who would be on the bench for game week 1. Then we've got Destiny Udogie, Levi Colwill, and De Kuiper. Please correct me please let me know in the comments if I got that wrong, the pronunciation of De Kuiper. But I want to start off by saying, right, I've gone for Levi Colwill and Destiny Udogie as pretty much set and forget defender picks, right? Yes, Udogie might get benched in the odd game or two. For example, in game week 2 when he plays against City away, with the way this team works, Einar would then come into the side and Udogie would get benched because in game week 2, Ole Einar plays against Crystal Palace away, for example. But yeah, I think, look, Udogie and Colwill, because of the good long-term fixtures they have, they are pretty much set and forget picks. I think Udogie as well, under Thomas Frank, I mean, at 4.5, I do think he could be a steal. Of course, Pedro Porro is probably the better pick than Udogie. Slightly more attacking, slightly more advanced, but also he's on set pieces as well. But I really do think, because Udogie is 4.5, he really could be a good pick in this new Tottenham side. Of course, we don't know how good Tottenham are going to perform under Thomas Frank yet, but I think there is potential there with Udogie. So I quite kind of do like him as a pick, to be honest with you guys. And of course, Levi Colwill, I do like Cucurella, but he is coming in at 6 mil, and I think in this team, you guys can probably see that I've heavily invested into the attack. You know, I've got Watkins, I've got Haaland, I've got Palmer, I've got Saka. It really is, you know, a lot of the majority of the funds have gone into the midfield and the attack. So my defense is slightly cheaper. But yeah, so for that reason, I can't afford Cucurella, so I've gone for Colwill instead. But I don't mind it because I think Colwill was pretty much guaranteed to start every single game. There is a little bit of set-piece threat there as well with Colwill. So, yeah, and of course, the long-term fixtures for Chelsea are good. So, he would just be a long-term hold, set and forget defender pick. And then we've got De Kuiper here. I like him because he is an attacking fullback, guys. If you don't know, look, I'm not going to sit here and chat and talk to you guys like I know a lot about De Kuiper because I've not really watched him. I've not watched 90-minute games of him, so I don't know how good and how good of a player he really is. But I have checked some of his attacking stats, and it does look promising, guys, right? Purely just based off stats, not eye test. You guys know I preferably like to watch players, right, and base my opinion off that. But we will get a chance to eventually watch him in pre-season. But as it stands, from what I've seen on stats, right, he looks like he could be a gem. At 4.5, his attacking sort of numbers in the past couple of seasons have been really, really good. As you guys can see here, right, in the last 2 seasons, he's got a total of 6 goals and I think 15 assists, right, in the last 2 league seasons. So, yeah, for me, I think there is really, really good potential there with De Kuiper being an attacking wing back, right? So, yeah, for me, I like him as a pick. And I've also gone for Aina on the bench, right? And that is to sort of rotate with Udogie and Kuiper, right? Because I think, look, especially with Kuiper as well, right? Again, please let me know if I'm pronouncing this name wrong, guys. But especially with Kuiper and Aina, if you rotate these 2 players, right, you can get some pretty decent fixtures. And I think it could be worth it because if Kuiper is going to be a really, really good attacking pick, then I think it definitely is worth going for him. So if I do go for him, because Brighton's fixtures are a bit like, they're a bit hit and miss, right? Because Brighton have, yeah, not the easiest fixtures, right? So it's Fulham at home in game week 1, Everton away in game week 2, then City at home in 3, then Bournemouth away in 4, but then Spurs and Chelsea in 5 and 6, then Wolves in 7, and then Newcastle United, right? So you kind of do, if you are going to go for Kuiper, you're going to need to partner him up with another defender that does rotate well with him. And I think potentially that could be Ola Aina. Again, I'm going to do some more research on who that can be, but after looking, my initial thoughts is that Ola Aina could be that player. Of course, there is an argument to be made that Forest could struggle this season because they are going to be playing European football. But for now, this is what I would say. If you were to rotate a player with a De Kuiper, it could be Ola Aina. And as you guys can see on screen, you would play Kuiper in the first 2 game weeks. So you play Kuiper against Fulham at home and Everton away, right? And then you play Ola Aina against West Ham at home. And then you play Kuiper again against Bournemouth away. And then you play Ola Aina in 5 and 6 against Burnley away and Sunderland away. So for the first 6 game weeks, that's how that rotation would work. And I don't think it's that bad in my opinion. So yeah, overall, I think the squad is decent. And in goal as well, of course, we do have Kelleher of Brentford. Now, I'm not too confident in this pick, if I'm being totally honest. I do expect Brentford to fall off massively. Of course, they still have the opportunity to sign players, but they've lost their manager. They've lost their star player, their star players, really, Brian Mbeumo, but also, let's not forget about Christian Norgard as well. So, yeah, they've lost a lot of players, Brentford. I do expect them to struggle a lot, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if they do concede a lot of goals and don't really keep a lot of clean sheets. So, I will probably change Kelleher. It doesn't really fill me with much confidence, if I'm being totally honest. One thing I do want to quickly show you guys, actually, right, is what we would do with this team for like the first 3 to 4 game weeks, for example. Just a little quick segment of how it would look in future game weeks. All right, guys, so we are on planfpl.com, and we're sort of just going to have a quick look, right? How would this team look for like the first 3 to 4 game weeks, right? So as you guys can see, this is how we look for game week 1. We've seen that already, so let's move on to game week 2. Game week 2, what I would probably do with this team if I was to go for this team is bring in Aina to the starting 11, bench Udogie, who's got City away, and then my defence would be Kuiper, Aina and Colwill. Unfortunately, they all have away matches, which isn't ideal. But then the midfield and attack does look pretty good in my opinion. You know, you got Rodgers against Brentford, Rodgers and Watkins against Brentford, McNeil against Brighton, Bukayo Saka, again, a reason why I do quite like him is because he's the standout captain pick in game week 2, he would be my captain against Leeds at home. Then we've got Palmer, Haaland and Solanke playing against each other as well. It's not too bad in my opinion. So that's how we'll look in game week 2. In game week 3, we definitely bench De Kuiper playing against City at home, and we'd start Ola Aina. My defence would be Kelleher in goal against Sunderland, Colwill against Fulham, Udogie against Bournemouth at home, Aina against West Ham at home, not too bad. The midfield and the attack I actually quite like as well. It's just that Saka's playing against Liverpool away, which isn't ideal. But other than that, you know, you got Rodgers and Watkins against Palace at home. You got McNeil against Wolves away. Palmer against Fulham at home. Haaland against Brighton. Solanke against Bournemouth at home. It's not too bad. It's not too bad in my humble opinion. So yeah, I think that the team is decent. But of course, as I said, bro, things will probably change. And then in game week 4, I think I'd bench Aina in game week 4 for the Kuiper, because he's got a game against Arsenal. But yeah, even in game week 4, the team does look pretty decent as well. So yeah, look, I think the team is okay. I don't mind it at all. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments, guys, what do you think of my very first FPL draft for the 25-26 season? I'd love to hear what you guys think of this team, but I am going to end it there. I feel like I've waffled on for so long. So that is going to be it for today's video, guys. Make sure you do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's going to be a great season. And remember, guys, my redemption arc starts now.